Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Divya Tampi, and today we are going to talk about five proven hacks that can help you to transform your anxiety into productivity. And this is specifically for busy working women. So if you are a working woman, write WW in the chat box. Okay. If you're a working man, write WM in the chat box. Okay. The reason why I picked up this topic is because a lot of times that happens, and I see that with a lot of working women, is that they're very hardworking, they are very ambitious, they're very aspirational, want to achieve a lot of things in their life, are willing to do the work that is required, and yet anxiety takes up a lot of their time and attention, and then all that wasted time leads to a lot of guilt and regret later, right? Basically all of these things lead to poor productivity, not being able to use their time to the best in the best possible ways, and not being able to make progress towards the goals that you have set for yourself. Okay. How do you handle this anxiety? So before I get into telling you about what you need to do about it, I want to tell you a little about what anxiety is. In fact, when we say the word stress, often what we are referring to, the main emotion that fits into this bundle called stress, is anxiety. So, what is anxiety? Every emotion that we experience as a human being is useful. It is designed to be useful to us. It's almost like a signal, right? Every emotion that you experience is a signal to your brain as to where your attention should be at any given point of time. For example, if you're feeling angry, it is a signal that there is something that is going on which is not right, which is a threat to, or which is unfair and shouldn't be happening. So it takes your attention there. If you are experiencing fear or anxiety, it is taking your attention to a possible threat to your own well-being, right? If you are experiencing sadness, it is taking your attention to the loss that you may be experiencing, and that you need to give attention to that loss. So coming back to anxiety, so anxiety is whenever the mind perceives any kind of threat, okay, in the present or in the future, especially in the future, is when we go into the space of anxiety. Now the way human beings evolved was that when we perceived any kind of physical threat, that is any threat to our life, for example, if we saw a lion coming along, or if we saw any dangerous animal coming along, that is when the anxiety kicked in, okay, or the stress response kicked in. And the purpose of the stress response was to ensure that our entire attention was on the threat that was coming our way, and we could handle it in the moment. So what this did physiologically was, immediately all the blood would move away from the brain and into the muscles of the limbs, so that you were ready for fight or flight. As a result, you would also notice, most people don't notice this when they're feeling anxious, there is tightening of the muscles that happens. That is why, clenching of the jaw, but otherwise also throughout the body there's tightening of the muscles that happen. Your eyes kind of focus on the thing that is supposed to be of danger. There is some amount of sweating that happens in the body, the blood circulation becomes faster, your heart pumps faster. So these are some of the physiological responses to a perceived threat, which actually is what we experience as anxiety and stress. And the first thing that I want to tell you is that anxiety is not a bad thing. In fact, it is a good thing, because it is supposed to take your attention to what is important to you in the moment. Imagine, as a child, you have exams coming up, and you may have wanted to play with your friends, or you may have wanted to watch TV, or you may have wanted to play a video game. And yet you felt anxious about the fact that there was an exam coming up tomorrow, and you don't want to look stupid, so you prepared for your exams despite the desire to do something else. Okay. So in the earlier days, it was about threat to life. In today's world, we hardly have any immediate threats to life. So anything which can be a threat to our perceived reputation, can be perceived as a threat, and that is what leads to anxiety. So the first thing is, anxiety is actually not bad. In fact, some amount of anxiety is good for us. So when does it become a problem? Anxiety becomes a problem when that emotion which is supposed to help us to focus our attention on what could be a possible threat and what we can do about it, when that emotion gets in the way of us being able to take action, that is when anxiety becomes a problem. Okay. So here are some things that I want to share with you about exactly what you can do, some immediate things that you can do to take care of your anxiety. Now, one of the first things that I want to say is, a lot of times people feel that anxiety is a result of having a lot of things to do, and that is a myth. The reality is that anxiety is a result of not doing the very thing that you know is super important. Okay, so something that you know at the back of your mind is very important and you find yourself not doing anything about it, that is when you experience a lot of anxiety. Let me take a very non-work kind of an example. If your child has been missing for some time, okay, god forbid, if that's happening, you may feel very anxious, but what you will do, what most parents will do, is immediately get into action. They will make calls, they will start speaking to other people, they will probably reach out to the police. So that action is happening, and when you are, as long as you are taking action, you are not caught up in that space of anxiety. But if you got to know that your child has been missing, and if you sat there and you did nothing and your mind is racing, that is when you experience the full power of anxiety, not in a positive way. Okay, this is exactly true even in our work lives. Okay, so you may be experiencing anxiety at your workplace because of, when I say workplace, you could be running a business, and maybe there's not enough business coming along. Maybe there you're having trouble with a particular client with whom you're working. Maybe you are employed at a place and your boss is being very difficult, or there's something that has happened at workplace which is causing you anxiety. So one of the first things is to get to the heart of what exactly is it that is causing you anxiety, and what specific action can you take to be able to make progress towards your goal. And what is your goal in this case? Your goal is to resolve the issue at hand. Okay, so whatever it is that is bothering you, the fear that, okay, this may not work out, the fear that, I may not have enough time, the fear that the client may not be very happy with this. Okay, so once your job is to figure out exactly what is causing me this anxiety, and then see, okay, what are some actionable steps that I can take, specific actions that I can take, and they need not be big, they can be very small actions. Sometimes it is about having a chat with the person who you may be thinking that, oh, this person's probably not liking what I'm doing, or this person's unhappy with me. And sometimes it may be about having a discussion with that person upfront. Okay, but sometimes it may not be that. Sometimes you're worried that what the presentation that you make may not be good enough, or the offer that you do may not be good enough. So what are some actionable steps that you can take? Some actionable step could be that you can do a mock session with somebody, you can do a practice session with somebody. Okay, or you can break down the thing into smaller parts and take help from somebody. So there are so many small actionable steps that you can take. So one of the first steps that you need to take when you're dealing with anxiety is to look at what is the exact problem that is causing you anxiety, and what are the actionable steps that you can take. Because the moment you start taking some action to resolve the issue, your anxiety level will immediately come down. Okay, if you agree with that, right, agree in the chat box. Okay, by the way, for those of you who are watching me live, right, hashtag live in the chat box. And for those of you who are watching me, watching the replay of this video, right, hashtag replay in the chat box. Okay, great. So that is the first one. The second one, okay, now this one that I'm going to tell you is something that you need to do even before you come to a point of where you are experiencing anxiety. Okay, and this is physical exercise. You can do, actually you can make this part of both when you're not feeling anxious and when you're feeling anxious. So why physical exercise? Physical exercise uh, releases endorphins in the body. Okay, as a result of which, if you have gone through your workout and you're regularly exercising, it not only helps to condition your body, it also helps to condition your mind, which means it helps you to feel grounded and calm most of the time. It releases, physical exercise releases endorphins. In fact, personally, whenever I used to experience a lot of stress, something is coming up and I need to do something about it, and I am taking action, and yet I find myself sitting and feeling anxious a lot, I would actually go out and go for a run. If that is not possible for you and running is not your thing, you need not go run. You can actually stand up and do some jumping jacks. You can stand up and do any kind of physical movement. Maybe put on some music, do some dance. Okay. Because here's the thing with emotion literally means energy in motion, right? And imagine what is happening is you're sitting there steady, okay, and in the wrong posture, everything. None of this is actually helping your mental health either. Even the okay, and okay, I'll come to the next point later. So when you have that, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, these are the hormones that actually get released when you're experiencing stress. When all of these are running through your body and you are sitting steady, okay, the agitation is just getting more and more inside of your body. But when you get up, you physically move your state, you also mentally move your state. And when you actually start doing physical activity, that emotion finds a way of some kind of release, and endorphins get released, so the stress hormones start to reduce. Okay. So when you're feeling anxious, immediately get up and you can start doing physical exercise, especially something which is, like which fits into the HIIT category, high intensity interval exercise kind of thing, right? Uh, so physical exercise is a fantastic hack. Okay. Immediately use it when you are feeling anxious, start doing physical activity and you will immediately see a change. The third thing, okay, now a lot of people experience anxiety eating, like stress eating. Some of you, if any of you have experienced anything like that, right? SE in the chat box, which is stress eating. What is stress eating? Is when you are feeling anxious, you eat food to help yourself feel better. Okay. And it can work in the short term, that and by the way, it is helping because you're chewing, you're eating, there's some kind of action that is happening. Instead of actually eating, you can actually replace with another activity. So one is, junk food will increase the level of anxiety that you experience, because there will be a sudden spurt of sugar, and that energy that gets released, it adds to the anxiety that you experience. And when then there is a crash of sugar, that will again add to you feeling low and your anxiety going up. So you definitely want to stay off junk food, and instead what you can do is you can start writing. Okay, because writing in itself is an action, but more importantly, start writing about the specific situation. Because sometimes when you're feeling anxious, it's very hard to think. Okay, okay, what it's very hard to think straight and think sensibly, think logically. So what you can do instead is you start writing, because the process of writing itself requires you to articulate the thoughts that you're having. By the way, any feeling that you experience is a result of the thoughts that are going through your mind. It is a result of the story that you're telling yourself, right? So emotions generally don't come on their own. They're a result of your beliefs and the result of your thoughts. So the first thing is for you to identify the emotion that you're experiencing. So you're experiencing anxiety. Then you go back and say, okay, where is this anxiety coming from? Look at the thought and start writing. Write. You can write everything, what is the thought, what is the feeling, what is the fear, all of that. But because what happens is, once you put it out there, okay, you have more clarity about what's going on, and there is some kind of release, because this is a physical activity that you have done. And journaling, and this becomes a journaling practice, and this is a great way if you were to do this on a daily basis, especially even if you're not feeling highly anxious. A lot of people find it very difficult to go to sleep at night, because when you lie down to sleep, you start thinking about all the things that are happening at work, all the things that have not been done, all the issues that are happening in your life. So if you get into the practice of doing some amount of journaling, where you write about what is going on in your mind, and what are some things that happened during the day, and how would you like your life to be, when you write down all of those things, it feels like you have parked all your thoughts down on the paper. And then when you lie down, you can actually, your mind tends to relax. Okay, so that's the third thing, which is journaling. Okay, the fourth thing is meditation and mindfulness. Again, this is something that you definitely want to start doing even before you come to a place of experiencing anxiety. Make meditation a part of your daily life. I have a lot of people telling me that, I'm not the meditating kind, by the way. Meditation is not for people who are the meditating kind. Okay, meditation or mindfulness, whatever you call it. It is the practice of bringing your attention to the present. So I'll tell you a very simple way of practicing mindfulness, of meditation. What I do is I sit down at a quiet corner. First of all, I make sure that There's nothing that can distract me for the next 15-20 minutes. So I close the door, I switch off any notifications, keep my phone away, all of that. And then I will sit down at a place. If I want to drink water, go to the washroom, I'll do all of that. Then I'll come and sit down at a quiet corner where nobody else is going to disturb me. Once I sit down, I generally sit down on a yoga mat. Sometimes I do it on a chair as well. Do whatever suits you. Sit down, close your eyes. Start off for people who are new, closing your eyes is a good idea. Some people may be comfortable doing it with their eyes open as well. But close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Okay. And keep your attention just around your nose, this area. Okay. So when I say breath, don't look at breath going all the way, going into your stomach, coming. Don't go all that path. Just this much. Notice the breath going in, notice the breath going out. And what will happen in this process is invariably your mind will again go back to certain thoughts. But you keep, as and when you notice that you have started thinking about something else, your job is to keep bringing back your attention to your breath. Keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this. Okay. So what is happening is when you practice meditation on a regular basis, your mind is getting trained. And people who meditate in a regular basis have better self-control, because self-control behaviors get better and better as you practice meditation. You can start with as little as 5 minutes and go up to even 1 hour, or you can do 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening before you go to sleep. And so I was telling you that meditation improves self-control behaviors in you. So it helps you with focus, it helps you with concentrating your attention on whatever it is that you need to and keep your focus. It helps you with impulse control. Okay. And it helps you to think logically. So research shows that as little as 3 hours of meditation over a period of 1 week can improve your self control and attention capabilities. And people who are new to meditation, when they so there was a particular research that was conducted, and it was found that even 11 hours of meditation, after 11 hours of meditation, they started seeing a change in the brain. So you see, in the brain, I'll just talk about two parts in a very basic way. Okay. So there is the emotional part of the brain, the limbic brain. Mainly, there are these two small things behind our ears, inside of the head, called amygdala. Okay. Those are the emotional centers of the brain. Okay. And then we have the prefrontal cortex. Okay. So this part of the brain, this is a newer part of the brain in the evolution of human beings. And generally, when we are feeling anxious, etc., it is the amygdala which is activated. And when the amygdala is activated, the logical part of the brain is not able to think, you are not able to put your logical part of the brain into action. But when you meditate on a regular basis, what happens is automatically the logical part of your brain, or the prefrontal cortex, gets activated. And when you do this on a regular basis, the gray matter in the prefrontal cortex actually increases. Okay, that is the difference that they saw in the research. So make sure, like from today, make meditation a part of your life. And even if you are in the middle of feeling anxious, like, oh gosh, I don't know what's happening, etc., sit down, ground yourself, and bring your attention to your breath. Okay. And go on for like 10 breaths. And that meditation process will help to ground yourself. And it will help you to access the intelligence that you already have inside of you. Most of us make the mistake of constantly looking for answers on the outside. But when you get into the practice of meditation, you are able to access this divine intelligence that you have inside of you. Okay, so that is the fourth thing. By the way, another thing that I want to tell about anxiety, a lot of people worry about what is going to happen, worry about, oh gosh, what will that person say, worry about, I don't know whether this is going to work. And one of the reasons people do that is also because somewhere subconsciously we think of worry, like we confuse between worrying and planning. Okay, so I want you to remind yourself that worrying is not the same as planning. Okay, worrying is a emotional process which is not helping you. Okay, where you're thinking, oh, I wonder what will happen, you're kind of catastrophizing the things that could go wrong and all of that. But planning is the process of sitting down and thinking, okay, these are some possibilities, what are some specific actions that I can take. That is planning. Okay, so if you find yourself worrying, remind yourself that worrying is not helping me, but instead I can plan. Sit down and start writing. So that's quite similar to the first step that I told you, okay, where you start addressing the issue at hand. Okay, the fifth thing is belly breathing. Okay, so belly breathing is where you can do the standing up or sitting down, where you actually regulate your breathing. Okay, so you put your hand on your tummy, on your belly. Okay, this is best done standing up when you're doing it initially. So you put your hand on your belly. You can put the other hand here if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. Okay, and then breathe out. First you breathe out completely. Okay, and then you keep your palm on your belly and breathe in deeply. Now, when you're breathing in, it's very important that you notice your belly rising. Okay, because what happens is most of us have gotten used to breathing from the chest, but we are supposed to breathe from the diaphragm. And when you're breathing from the diaphragm, your stomach is supposed, your belly is supposed to come out, right? So when you are inhaling, your belly should inflate, and when you are breathing out, your belly should deflate. Okay, and because we are not consciously doing this, we are in the process of belly breathing, we are consciously doing this. And why belly breathing? Because when you are doing belly breathing and when you are breathing from the diaphragm, what happens is it activates something called the vagus nerve. Okay, vagus nerve is one of the nerves which is which when activated is responsible for you being able to relax. Okay, it also helps your heart to relax. It helps the valves in your heart to actually dilate, right? So do this. By the way, instead of belly breathing, you can also do, for those of you who are familiar with yoga, there's something called Bastrika. I'm not going to exactly, yeah, but let me try. Basically you do this. Okay, so you may have seen this, so you that 10 times, 10 times or 20 times. I mean, if you're sitting in a meeting, if you are in an office space and with a lot of people around you, it may not be possible for you to do that, and it may look a little funny. But you can do this, like you can go to the washroom, or if you are in your home office, of course you can stand up and do that. You can always find a place to do that. Okay, so these are some things that you can do to take care of anxiety immediately, because remember that, and also whenever your mind starts to tell you that, oh gosh, I'm this person, I'm not able to control this, I'm not able to manage this, that is so untrue. Everybody experiences anxiety at some time or the other. Okay, and it's okay to experience anxiety. We just have to upskill ourselves. We have to learn the skills to be able to manage this, and as time passes and as we keep practicing these things, we'll keep getting and better, keep getting better and better. And I'll just quickly recap some of the things that I spoke about. First thing is to write down the specific practical steps that you can take to address the anxiety that you're experiencing. The second is to do physical exercise. The third is journaling. The fourth is practice meditation and mindfulness before the anxiety and even in the midst of it. Yes, absolutely. Everybody experiences anxiety. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that out, because most people don't realize this. Okay. And the fourth one is belly breathing. Okay. Yeah. So we've spoken about addressing the anxiety, physical exercise, meditation, belly breathing, journaling. Okay. So these are the 5 ways in which you can manage your anxiety. So in the comments, also ask me any questions if you have any, because I'd love to answer questions. And I'm just going to open up my page so I can answer any questions that you have. Okay, and also for those of you who are watching this, if you'd like me to cover any specific topic for you, I'd be more than happy to do that. So let me know what are the topics that you would like me to cover, and I'll do that. Okay, so I'll take it up for another. Okay, great. So great. Thank you, Rutu, for being there. And let's see. I'm also just checking if there are any more questions. I think we are good. Yes, I think that's about it for now and today. Thank you so much once again for being here. And yes, stay connected with me on my YouTube channel, on my Instagram, and join in for my masterclass, which is the Smart Productivity Masterclass. In fact, I am going to type that in. Okay, so if you haven't yet attended that, that's something that you would want to. Okay, for some reason I'm not able to. Yes, okay, there we go. I'm just going to wait. That's pretty much it. Okay, I'm trying to put that up, and for some reason, I am not able to. Okay, so okay, let's try. Let me try. Can't post comment. Okay, I'm somehow not able to. But you can go to www.smartproductivitymasterclass.com. Okay, and jump in for my masterclass the next time it happens. So today is what day? Thursday. I'll be doing my next masterclass on Sunday. So love you all and stay connected, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.